Throw away that sweet little phrase people repeat to avoid thinking, follow your passion. It has ruined more lives than open failure ever could because it sounds holy while it keeps men drifting. It gives a man permission to chase feelings instead of building a fate. If you have ever said, I just need to find what I love, and then waited weeks, months, years, then you know the poison. The world kept moving. Bills kept arriving. Time kept shaving pieces off your youth. And your passion never showed up to rescue you. Now listen closely. I am not against desire. Desire is the beginning of all achievement, but desire without direction is appetite. And appetite, left to itself, makes a man weak, distracted, and easily controlled. Most men do not suffer because they lack talent. They suffer because they lack a principle. They are guided by moods. They wake up as one man and go to bed as another. They call that being human. I call it drift. And drift is not harmless. Drift is the quiet road to regret. Drift is the reason so many intelligent men reach middle life and realize they have built nothing but exhaustion. There are truths about life that are not polite. They do not flatter you. They do not comfort you. They cut. And the cut is mercy because it stops the infection before it spreads through your whole existence. If you are brave enough to hear them, I will give you 7 principles that most people avoid because they would rather be liked than be free. These are not principles for the crowd. They are principles for the man who wants command. Before I speak the first one, let me ask you something that will expose your habits. How many times have you changed directions because you didn't feel it anymore? How many times have you abandoned a plan because the excitement died? That is exactly why follow your passion is dangerous. Passion comes and goes like weather. If you follow it, your life becomes a series of beginnings with no harvest. You will become addicted to the thrill of starting and allergic to the discipline of finishing. Here is the ugly secret. The world does not reward passion. It rewards value. It rewards service. It rewards the man who can be depended upon when he is bored, tired, irritated, unpraised, and misunderstood. The ultra-successful man is not enslaved by his feelings. He uses feelings as fuel, but he does not take orders from them. He has a chief aim that stands like a steel beam through every season of his life. And that is why some men become powerful even when life hits them hard, because their purpose remains, even when their passion disappears. They do not wait to feel inspired. They act, and inspiration comes to meet them. Now I must warn you, these principles will offend certain parts of you. They will attack the excuses you have used to protect yourself from discomfort. They will expose the difference between a wish and a decision. One of these principles will force you to admit that you have been romantic about life instead of responsible. Another will show you why waiting for clarity is often another form of fear. Another will reveal that comfort is the most expensive drug on earth. But if you absorb these truths and obey them, something rare will happen inside you. Your mind will quiet. Your direction will sharpen. You will stop wasting energy on endless self-analysis and start building a life that produces results. Imagine waking up with calm certainty instead of confusion. Imagine working without constantly needing to be in the mood. Imagine having a purpose so definite that distractions lose their power over you. That is what these 7 principles will give you, not because they are pleasant, but because they are true. And truth has a strange effect on a man. Once he sees it clearly, he can never again enjoy his old excuses. So I ask you to listen differently now. Not as a spectator. Not as a man collecting ideas. Listen as a man receiving orders that could save 10 years of his life. Because somewhere inside you, you already know it. Following passion has been your way of avoiding the hard, disciplined construction of purpose. And purpose, once built, creates passion that does not die. Now let me give you the first dangerously honest principle of life. It will sound harsh. It will sound almost unfair. And if you accept it, you will feel your spine straighten, because you will finally understand why so many men stay poor, anxious, and unfinished. while a few become inevitable. Principle A: feelings are poor leaders. Most men ruin their best years by mistaking emotion for instruction. They hear a whisper within, an excitement, a pull, a mood, and they kneel before it as if it were divine authority. But feelings are weather, not compass. They shift with hunger, fatigue, company, or weather. To build a life on feelings is to build a fortress on sand, because emotion moves faster than circumstance, and a man who obeys it cannot hold direction for long. I have watched men who are ablaze with enthusiasm in the morning abandon the same cause by evening. They call this intuition, but it is weakness disguised as sensitivity. The truth is that no man can sustain steady advancement while changing his orders every time his mood shifts. The mind that serves ambition must be ruled by purpose, not pleasure. Desire, when rightly understood, is raw power, a current of energy. But that current must be directed through will, or it will scatter into appetite and distraction. The undisciplined man treats desire as permission. The disciplined man treats it as material to be shaped. He converts feeling into fuel. He extracts from excitement a single command: proceed. Most men confuse enthusiasm with direction. They mistake excitement for evidence that they have found destiny. They spend months or years chasing the emotion of inspiration, mistaking it for purpose. And when it fades, as it always does, they interpret that fading as a sign to change direction. This is why the world is full of men who start a dozen things and finish none. A man who follows passion restarts his life every few years. He trades progress for novelty. He becomes addicted to the thrill of beginning and allergic to the discipline of finishing. Look closely, and you will find that his story is a trail of abandoned beginnings. He tells himself he is evolving, but he is only circling. The disciplined man is different. He uses feeling as fuel, not instruction. When excitement appears, he does not idolize it. He channels it into effort. When excitement leaves, he continues. He knows that progress itself creates passion, and obedience itself generates emotion. The weak wait for emotion before acting. The strong act until emotion follows. All builders know this law. Thomas Edison endured thousands of failures in the dark before light obeyed him. Henry Ford persisted through bankruptcies and ridicule before the world rode his vision. Andrew Carnegie worked 16-hour days in heat and danger long before he saw his empire. These men were not sustained by excitement. They were sustained by decision. A man who waits to feel ready before acting will wait until age makes readiness impossible. Readiness is the reward of effort, not the condition for it. Those who act without it create readiness by force. And this is why the world respects a man who obeys purpose even when uninspired. There is dignity in constancy. There is power in persistence that ignores emotion. Obeying feeling trains weakness into the mind. Each time a man retreats because he does not feel like it, he reinforces slavery to mood. He tells his subconscious that emotion outranks decision. Over time, the inner voice that once commanded becomes one that begs. He loses self-trust, for he knows he cannot rely on himself when inspiration dies. Ignoring feeling and obeying purpose will save a man 10 years of false starts. Each time you resist a mood, you harden the muscle of mastery. Each time you persist through boredom, you stretch the horizon of capacity. Those who yield to emotion repeat the same year forever. Those who master it live a lifetime in 1 decade. Consider the sculptor who works through silence and repetition. The first weeks bring excitement. The next bring monotony. But somewhere beyond boredom lies excellence. He becomes so absorbed in obedience that the work itself becomes his joy. Men who master this progression dominate every field. Emotional obedience leads to instability, anxiety, and regret. When a man builds only when inspired, his days lose structure. He rises unsure of who he will be. He ends each night disappointed by his own inconsistency. But when he builds by law, when he works according to purpose, his mind becomes quiet. I have seen this transformation. A man begins governed by mood and ends governed by principle. His face, once restless, grows calm. His decisions, once erratic, become deliberate. He ceases to seek happiness and begins to seek strength. The applause of comfort no longer interests him. Happiness, as the world defines it, is a narcotic. It seduces a man into measuring life by feeling rather than fulfillment. But the wise man knows that calm certainty is a greater reward than excitement. Happiness is a guest. Calm is a resident. Choose calm. Speak these affirmations until they become your nature. I command my feelings. They do not command me. I act regardless of mood. I serve my purpose, not my pleasure. Discipline outlives passion. Let this be your first time-saving law. Discipline outlives passion. When emotion fades, discipline remains. When passion dies, principle endures. And that endurance will save you more years than talent ever could. Principle 2. Clarity comes after commitment, not before. Most men waste the prime of their life waiting to figure things out. They delay action until certainty appears, never realizing that clarity is not the starting point, but the fruit of decision. The world teaches men to search endlessly for a perfect plan before moving. In truth, commitment creates the plan as it goes. Waiting for clarity is often fear disguised as wisdom. It sounds cautious, mature, and thoughtful, but beneath it lies hesitation, the fear of error, the fear of ridicule, the fear of responsibility. Men comfort themselves with the illusion that they are thinking things through, when in reality they are avoiding the discomfort of decision. Commitment organizes thought. When a man finally binds himself to a single aim, his scattered ideas align. The mind, which once chased a dozen possibilities, begins to focus its energy. Decision acts as a magnet. It draws intelligence, ideas, and allies to the chosen direction. Uncertainty disappears the moment a man stops negotiating with himself. The world does not respond to contemplation. It responds to command. Nature favors motion. A river becomes clear only when it flows. Stagnation breeds murkiness. Likewise, a man's life clears only through forward motion. The tragedy of modern ambition is that men spend 5, 10, even 20 years searching for what feels right, instead of building what works. They confuse curiosity for destiny. They study, plan, and prepare for seasons that never arrive. They think they are cautious. They are drifting. The ultra-successful man commits first and refines later. He chooses a direction and learns through engagement. He understands that progress corrects itself faster than theory ever could. When he acts, even mistakes reveal the right path. When he hesitates, even wisdom decays into fear. Others perceive decisiveness as confidence. They admire the man who moves while others deliberate. They assume he knows something they do not. But his confidence is not born of knowledge. It is born of obedience to decision. His clarity is a result, not a prerequisite. History is full of men who began with only conviction and built certainty through perseverance. When Dr. Frank Gonzalez decided he would raise $1 million to build a college, he had neither plan nor resources. But his decision organized his speech, his faith, and his opportunities. Commitment shaped his clarity. Indecision multiplies confusion. Every option kept open is an unpaid debt to the mind. Each day spent balancing alternatives drains willpower. Decision, once made, liberates energy. Commitment collapses chaos into focus. Clarity is a reward, not a requirement. The man who acts without waiting for proof gains it by experience. He sees farther because he walks forward. Those who stand still to think find that thinking without movement becomes worry. Commitment saves decades of hesitation. The man who decides learns 10 times faster than the man who debates. Life reveals itself to those who engage it. The mind, once trained to move despite uncertainty, becomes sharp. Responsibility sharpens intelligence. Indecision dulls it. Affirm these truths daily. I commit first, clarity follows. I move while others wait. I choose a path and make it right through perseverance. Movement produces understanding. When responsibility is embraced, fear loses its disguise. The man who carries weight learns strength. The man who avoids weight grows fragile. Remember this second law. Movement produces understanding. Do not waste another decade waiting for a perfect map. Start walking. The path will teach you what theory never will. Principle 3, discipline is more valuable than talent. Every generation worships talent, but every empire is built on discipline. Talent is admired because it dazzles. Discipline is respected because it endures. Talent excites envy. Discipline commands trust. The truth is that talent without discipline creates frustration, while discipline without talent still produces achievement. The man who governs himself will always surpass the man who entertains himself. I have known brilliant men whose intelligence was like lightning, bright but brief. They spoke of plans with brilliance, began with force, and vanished with excuses. They lived by mood, not method. Their potential was extraordinary, yet their results were ordinary. They mistook gift for guarantee. And every year that passed, their brilliance became less useful because it was never governed. The disciplined man does not depend on mood. He understands that reliability is more valuable than brilliance. He builds his character as carefully as others build skill. He trains himself to act when weary, to continue when unpraised, to persist when progress is invisible. This quality transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary influence. Discipline builds identity. Each act of self-control becomes proof of who a man is. Over time, the man who obeys his schedule more than his impulses begins to believe in his own word. That belief becomes power. He no longer hopes he will follow through. He knows he will. Confidence, once built on inspiration, becomes built on evidence. Society secretly depends on disciplined men. Every system that functions, every bridge that stands, every invention that serves, rests upon someone who did what had to be done long after excitement disappeared. The crowd praises creativity, but it lives by constancy. The world is safe only because some men refuse to drift. The disciplined man becomes reliable, and reliability is power. Men trust him because he does not change with the weather. He fulfills obligations without supervision. His word gains weight. In a world that forgives delay but despises unreliability, he becomes indispensable. This is how discipline compounds invisibly. It builds a reputation that opportunity cannot ignore. I have seen it happen countless times. One man begins with talent and another with consistency. A few years later, the consistent man leads and the talented man serves. The world rewards those who finish what they start, not those who start what they cannot finish. Talent begins, discipline completes. Most men quit when novelty fades. They believe the loss of excitement means the work has lost value. In truth, it means they are now training mastery. Progress hides behind repetition. Those who continue discover that effort after boredom counts double. Discipline removes the need for motivation. A man who depends on motivation must negotiate with himself daily. But the disciplined man acts automatically. Habit has replaced argument. He wastes no energy convincing himself to do what he has already decided must be done. You can save 20 to 30 years of wasted potential by replacing reliance on inspiration with reliance on structure. Those years are lost by men who start and stop, living in cycles of enthusiasm and fatigue. The disciplined man eliminates this cycle entirely. He does not wait to feel capable. He works until capability becomes identity. Consider the life of a man like Charles Schwab, who rose from a laborer in steel mills to one of the most powerful industrialists of his age. He was not born to privilege. He possessed neither unique invention nor genius. What he possessed was obedience to effort. He once said that enthusiasm was worth nothing without organization. Discipline turned his ability into empire. Discipline, rightly understood, is not punishment. It is self-respect expressed through obedience. The man who keeps his own word to himself lives with pride. The man who breaks it daily lives with quiet shame. Each promise kept adds to strength. Each promise broken subtracts from it. Discipline creates calm. There is no conflict within the man who obeys his own principles. His mind is quiet because it no longer negotiates with weakness. He feels neither guilt nor confusion about his duty. He has chosen it. This inner stillness is what others call confidence. Repeat these affirmations until they govern your conduct. I am disciplined in all I do. I keep my word to myself. I am stronger than my moods. My consistency builds my power. Discipline turns ordinary effort into legacy. It takes the invisible, habits, routines, and standards, and makes them monuments. Every great monument was built by ordinary hands under extraordinary discipline. This is why discipline will always multiply ability. Let this be your third saving law. Character multiplies ability. Talent gives birth to promise. Character raises it into power. When you make discipline your law, you gain time, influence, and peace. 3 rewards that passion alone can never purchase. Principle 4. The world pays for usefulness, not expression. There is a lie that flatters the weak and ruins the capable. The belief that the world will reward a man simply for expressing himself. Many waste decades chasing self-expression instead of usefulness. They confuse creativity with contribution. They think that by displaying their feelings or their uniqueness, life will open its treasury to them. It does not. The world pays, always and only, for usefulness. The world does not ask what you feel. It asks what you can do. The market, the employer, the community, even the family reward the man who solves problems, not the man who describes them beautifully. Self-expression may earn admiration. Usefulness earns dependence. And dependence is the soil from which opportunity grows. I have seen men of imagination live and die in frustration because they wanted to be authentic more than they wanted to be effective. They spent their best hours decorating themselves instead of developing themselves. The ultra-successful man learns early that his gifts are not ornaments. They are instruments. He polishes them through service until others cannot imagine doing without him. Usefulness creates value because it answers need. Every fortune rests upon this truth. Andrew Carnegie did not seek self-expression. He sought to move steel more efficiently. Henry Ford did not chase novelty. He sought to put motion within reach of every family. Their reward came because their work multiplied benefit. The world must, by its own law, pay back those who enlarge it. Work, then, is not self-discovery. It is contribution. You do not find yourself by expressing your moods. You build yourself by improving your service. Each task done with excellence becomes a brick in your character. The man who works to be useful sharpens mind and heart together. His pride grows cleanly from evidence. Men who fix their gaze upon usefulness rise faster because they build alliances instead of audiences. Allies come to the man who can be relied upon to produce results. Admirers flock to the man who merely entertains them, but they vanish when the show ends. One type of man becomes popular, the other becomes indispensable. Usefulness attracts resources as gravity attracts mass. When a man proves that his ideas can serve others, money and opportunity move toward him. He does not have to chase them. They come as a natural consequence, like harvest after planting. This alone can save you decades of financial wandering. For most men waste years trying to make money before they make themselves useful. Pride born of service is different from vanity born of expression. Vanity says, "Look at me." Pride says, "Look at what stands because I built it." The first depends on praise. The second depends on completion. When your work begins to speak louder than your talk, your life begins to acquire gravity. Usefulness stabilizes both income and direction. The man who has learned to produce something others need never fears dismissal. His place is earned, not granted. Even in uncertainty, he remains steady, because usefulness cannot be abolished. It merely changes form. This principle alone could rescue half the men of the world from lifelong insecurity. A useful man is never entirely out of work, never entirely out of favor, never entirely out of purpose. Those who wait for their big break will watch the decades slip away. Those who master service will create their own breaks. There was once a young salesman who treated every small customer as if he were a king. His colleagues mocked him for wasting effort. Years later, those same customers owned growing companies, and the salesman was the only man they trusted. Usefulness had multiplied him tenfold. Let these words become your creed. I make myself valuable through service. I refine my talent until it serves a need. I build strength through contribution, not display. Value precedes reward. Usefulness produces confidence because it gives evidence of worth. The man who knows he can deliver results does not beg for approval. His security is inward. Self-absorption, on the other hand, breeds insecurity, for it depends on constant reassurance. To serve is to stand on solid ground. Remember this law that will save you uncounted years. Value precedes reward. If you will make yourself useful, life will make you prosperous. If you make yourself merely expressive, life will make you decorative and forgettable. Principle 5. Comfort is the most expensive drug on earth. There is a poison that wears a smile. It speaks softly. It tells a man he deserves rest, that he has earned a break, that there is virtue and ease and wisdom in moderation. It does not destroy him suddenly. It sedates him slowly. That poison is comfort. And comfort, though it looks harmless, is the most expensive drug on earth, for it steals what no man can repurchase: his urgency, his edge, his hunger, his years. Men do not fall because they are incapable. They fall because they grow comfortable with being capable. They begin strong, burning with ambition, and then success itself lulls them to sleep. Comfort persuades them to trade expansion for preservation, excellence for convenience, growth for safety. The most dangerous prison a man can build is a soft life that requires nothing of him. Ease weakens decision. Each time a man chooses the lighter path, he teaches his will that comfort outranks conviction. He calls it self-care, but it is self-abandonment. The muscles of effort, mental and moral, atrophy from disuse. One compromise becomes habit. Habit becomes identity. Soon he is not choosing comfort. Comfort is choosing for him. Comfort disguises itself as balance. The world praises the man who takes it easy, who doesn't push too hard, who finds peace. They do not realize that peace without progress is merely numbness. Balance is noble only when it serves purpose. Otherwise, it is camouflage for fear. A life designed only to feel good ends without ever having done good. Discomfort, on the other hand, strengthens capacity. Growth begins where comfort ends. A man who seeks the harder road expands the boundaries of what he can endure, what he can accomplish, and who he becomes. Pain is not an enemy. It is a tutor. It refines what comfort dulls. Every test passed increases range. Every difficulty mastered enlarges being. I have never known a man who reached greatness without pressure. It is heat that hardens steel, not shade. It is struggle that forges character, not serenity. The oak grows deep roots because the wind challenges it. The sailor earns mastery because the sea resists him. The man who avoids struggle avoids strength. Comfort delays destiny. The years you spend avoiding effort are the years you will later spend repairing the consequences. A man who hides from challenge to preserve ease discovers that time does not honor such trades. Comfort demands payment in the currency of regret. Each day of avoidance compounds into lost opportunity. Others see strength in the man who chooses effort while they choose ease. They may not say it aloud, but they recognize the difference. A man willing to labor when others rest becomes a mirror that exposes their mediocrity. They will call him obsessed, fanatical, or joyless. Let them. Their opinion will vanish the day his results stand where theirs could not. Comfort offers short-term relief at long-term cost. It trades the glory of what could be for the satisfaction of what is. It whispers, "You have time," and robs the man who listens of decades. The tragedy is that the man under its spell often believes he is wise. He confuses contentment with complacency, gratitude with surrender. Rejecting comfort saves decades of mediocrity. The moment a man commits to discomfort as a way of life, he accelerates his growth beyond imagination. He stops waiting for perfect conditions. He ceases to seek approval for his pace. He begins to generate pressure instead of escaping it. The same force that crushed him when avoided now builds him when embraced. Consider the story of a man like Thomas Edison, who worked 18 hours a day for years without losing momentum. He did not seek comfort. He sought creation. His laboratory burned, destroying years of work. And when others expected despair, he smiled and said, "All our mistakes are gone. We can begin anew." That is the voice of a man immune to comfort. Discomfort is training. Each hardship is a lesson wrapped in resistance. Fatigue teaches efficiency. Rejection teaches patience. Delay teaches endurance. Every difficulty, properly interpreted, is an investment. The man who faces pain with purpose leaves comfort addicts behind, not because he is lucky, but because he is forged. Let these words serve as your daily instruction. I will not worship comfort. I will not mistake ease for peace. I will choose the harder road when it serves my purpose. I am being strengthened by every test. My discomfort today is freedom tomorrow. Pressure sharpens purpose. Without resistance, the mind wanders. With it, it becomes precise. Goals that once felt distant suddenly appear reachable because the man facing hardship learns to concentrate on essentials. Difficulty forces clarity. A smooth road teaches nothing. A steep climb reveals everything. Comfort breeds regret. Ask the old men who sit in silence, staring at lives that could have been grand, but were instead safe. They will not tell you they wish they had rested more. They will tell you they wish they had dared more, risked more, believed more, persisted more. Comfort feels good now. It feels shameful later. Ease delays greatness. The man who postpones effort postpones the rewards that only effort can buy. Every great enterprise begins with discomfort and ends in mastery. If you are unwilling to be uncomfortable, you have already chosen a smaller life. To escape this drug, you must rewire what you praise. Do not celebrate convenience, celebrate challenge. Do not seek rest, seek readiness. The body and mind obey their master. If you command comfort, they will decay. If you command endurance, they will adapt. The years ahead belong to those who can suffer wisely, not suffer needlessly, but endure productively. The successful man treats pain as investment. The drifter treats it as punishment. This single difference separates achievement from anonymity. Remember, no one respects the man who chooses what is easy. The crowd may cheer for him today, but they will forget him tomorrow. They will, however, remember the man who endured. They will seek his counsel, trust his leadership, and call him fortunate. But fortune is merely the interest earned on discipline. This is your fifth time-saving law. Ease delays greatness. The more you crave comfort, the longer your destiny sleeps. If you will learn to welcome difficulty, you will save not only years, but your very self. For the man who conquers comfort becomes the man who cannot be conquered. Principle 6. Repetition creates identity. There is a law that governs all creation. What you do repeatedly, you become permanently. Habit is the hand that sculpts character. The mind, the body, and the spirit are molded not by intention, but by repetition. What a man repeats each day, his words, his actions, his decisions, his delays, writes his destiny line by line until it hardens into identity. Most men do not realize they are in training at every moment. Every repeated action strengthens something. If he practices indecision, hesitation becomes his instinct. If he practices diligence, persistence becomes his nature. The difference between weakness and strength is not inheritance, it is repetition. When a man acts, the world witnesses his performance once, but his subconscious witnesses it every time. The subconscious mind cannot resist habit. It accepts repeated commands as truth. It assumes that whatever is repeated must be important, and whatever is important must be obeyed. A man's spoken affirmations, his routines, his disciplines, these are the orders he issues to his deeper self. Habits define destiny. They are the quiet, invisible architecture beneath every triumph and every failure. A man may declare lofty intentions, but it is his daily repetition that reveals what he truly believes. The dreamer may speak of greatness, but if his actions repeat laziness, mediocrity will obey. Repetition installs belief faster than reasoning. You cannot think yourself into confidence. You must practice it. You cannot study courage. You must rehearse it. Each time a man does what he fears, he gives his mind proof that fear can be mastered. With enough repetition, even courage becomes reflex. Inconsistency, on the other hand, destroys confidence. Each time a man breaks his word to himself, he weakens the bridge between thought and action. His faith in his own promises collapses. He begins to wonder whether he will follow through, and that doubt infects every goal. He does not fail because he lacks ability. He fails because he no longer believes his own command. Great men became predictable to themselves before they became admirable to others. Their power did not arise from bursts of inspiration, but from steady obedience to routine. They worked until excellence became their normal condition. They no longer needed to force effort. Effort had become instinct. Others trust a reliable man because he trusts himself. His repetition makes him known, even when unseen. People do not doubt his word because he never doubts his own. There is nothing mysterious about his confidence. It is simply the product of practice. Repetition saves years of uncertainty. The man who repeats productive action no longer wastes time debating what to do. His habits have already decided for him. Each morning his behavior begins where his purpose ended yesterday. This continuity multiplies progress in ways the sporadic man can never understand. Repetition is authority. It turns intention into law. A man who repeats discipline long enough begins to carry the weight of predictability. His presence reassures others. They sense that he will do what he says. They may not admire him at first. They will, in time, depend on him. Think of the blacksmith at his anvil, repeating the same motion thousands of times until his arm and the hammer seem to think together. He does not need to feel motivated. His body obeys memory. In that obedience lies mastery. The musician, the craftsman, the leader, all ascend by repetition until excellence becomes unconscious. Habit erases inner conflict. The man who acts by trained discipline does not argue with himself. He no longer burns energy deciding what is already decided. He has installed obedience so deeply that temptation cannot reach him. This is freedom through structure, the only kind of freedom worth having. Repeat these affirmations until they no longer feel spoken but lived. I repeat what strengthens me. I am consistent in thought and deed. My habits create my identity. I become what I practice daily. Identity solidifies through repetition because every repeated act carves belief into the mind. The man who insists on excellence long enough ceases to try. He simply is excellent. The man who indulges weakness long enough ceases to resist. He simply is weak. The difference between the two is not willpower, it is practice. Repetition removes fear. Familiarity dissolves hesitation. The first time a man faces hardship, he trembles. The 10th time he endures. The 100th time he commands. What once terrified him now obeys him, not because the world changed, but because repetition hardened him. This principle will save you uncounted years. Stop searching for new tricks and start mastering old truths. The mind craves novelty, but power belongs to constancy. Great men are not inventive with their discipline. They are relentless with it. Let this be your sixth saving law. What you repeat, you become. If you would change your life, do not wish differently. Act differently every day until your new actions erase your old self. The man who understands this never again doubts who he will become, for he is already becoming it through repetition. Principle 7. Purpose is built, not found. Every man who drifts believes a lie that sounds noble, that somewhere hidden like treasure lies a perfect purpose waiting to be discovered. He tells himself that when he finds his calling, life will fall into order, clarity will arrive, and work will feel effortless. And so he waits. But waiting is the grave of destiny. Purpose is not discovered. It is constructed through decision, effort, and service. The fantasy of finding purpose seduces men into idleness. They search for signs, for passions, for something that feels special enough to commit to. They read, wander, experiment, and talk about potential while years pass unnoticed. They forget that purpose, like muscle, appears only after sustained exertion. A man cannot discover meaning in the absence of motion. Purpose is built from responsibility. It is the result of carrying weight willingly. A man becomes necessary by making himself useful, and from usefulness grows significance. Service reveals direction because it forces a man to act in the world instead of dreaming about it. Through service, he learns what matters, what endures, and what he is capable of bearing. Waiting for purpose wastes more time than failure ever could. The man who moves, even clumsily, begins to shape his path. The man who waits for certainty grows older, softer, and less daring. Life is a sculptor. It shapes those who move through its friction. The stationary man remains a block of potential, never carved into form. Builders create meaning through work. Purpose is not a feeling. It is the structure that emerges when effort meets direction. Each day of disciplined labor lays a brick. Over months, a wall. Over years, a fortress. When he looks back, the man realizes that his purpose was not something he found. It was something he built with his own two hands. Others respect men who construct their purpose because such men stand upon evidence. Their work speaks. They are not dreamers. They are definers. Their direction commands belief because it has been proven through endurance. Men who talk of destiny sound romantic. Men who live it appear inevitable. Purpose stabilizes life under pressure. When storms come, the man with no purpose is blown wherever fear and opinion push him. The man with built purpose stands firm. He suffers, but he remains. The storm refines him instead of uprooting him. Every challenge becomes part of the structure he is building. Purpose survives when passion fades. The man governed by feeling abandons his work when excitement dies. The man governed by purpose continues, knowing that meaning deepens through labor. He no longer needs to feel inspired. He is inspired by the fact that his life is being built into something that will outlast him. This single principle can save you an entire lifetime. Men waste decades chasing moods instead of missions, careers instead of callings, comfort instead of contribution. Build something, and meaning will reveal itself through the act of creation. The man who works with purpose feels alive. The man who searches for purpose feels anxious. Look to the lives of great men. None found their calling in a flash of revelation. They chose a direction, served with devotion, and discovered their purpose through persistence. Carnegie built opportunity for others and found fulfillment in creating men. Edison built light for mankind and found meaning in illuminating the world. Each began with service and ended with destiny. Speak these affirmations aloud until they settle into your bones. I build my purpose daily through service. I am guided by responsibility, not emotion. My work defines me because I have chosen it. I no longer wait for direction, I create it. Reframe purpose as obligation, not feeling. A man's purpose is his duty to his potential. It is the standard by which he measures his days. It is the law he writes upon his own soul. Once accepted, it removes confusion because duty leaves no room for indulgence. Purpose produces lasting fulfillment because it aligns desire with discipline. The man of purpose no longer battles himself. His mind, his habits, and his decisions all serve one master aim. The simplicity of this state brings peace no amount of leisure can imitate. Obsession with purpose creates freedom. When a man gives himself fully to his chosen work, he no longer fears the opinions of the crowd. He no longer wastes time wondering if he is on the right path. He knows he is right because he has decided to make it so. Abandon, follow your passion. It is the slogan of drifters. Follow your decision. Build your duty. Serve your cause. Passion will follow you, obediently, inevitably, and permanently. This is how men who once felt lost become forces of history. Understand this final and greatest truth. A man's purpose is not handed to him, it is forged by his own labor. When you work with discipline, when you serve with integrity, when you repeat your principles daily, you are not searching for purpose, you are becoming it. That is the highest form of success. Not wealth, not recognition, but the quiet knowledge that your existence serves a definite end. A man who knows why he works never fears fatigue. A man who knows what he builds never questions the cost. And a man who has built his purpose cannot be defeated because even in loss, he continues to fulfill his mission. This is the final law. Purpose is built, not found. When you obey it, you will save not 10 years, but perhaps your entire life. For you will no longer wait for meaning. You will create it. Epilogue: The 30 Days That Change a Man. You have heard the 7 dangerously honest principles of life. They are not decorations for your bookshelf. They are laws, and every law demands obedience before it gives reward. Now I will give you something simple. 30 days that will decide whether these words remain ideas or become iron within you. 30 days is not eternity. It is one short campaign of discipline. If you obey these instructions, you will feel your mind grow still, your confidence rise, and your direction clarify. You will no longer wander through your hours like a drifter. You will move with purpose, because every day will contain order. You need not buy anything, travel anywhere, or wait for anyone. You already possess everything required. The only condition is seriousness. For these 30 days, you must live as if your future is watching, and it is. The 30-Day Implementation Campaign. Rule 1, move the body. Every morning before the day demands your attention, command the body through movement. It need not be complex. Walk, stretch, lift, breathe. Anything that requires effort. This is not vanity. It is discipline. The body is the servant of the mind. If the body is lazy, the mind will follow. The purpose of movement is not strength alone. It is proof that you begin each day in control. Rule 2, study great books. Spend at least 30 minutes daily in the company of great minds. Read a few pages from books that have survived centuries, works of philosophy, biography, achievement. Begin with one you can respect and understand. Take notes by hand. Do not rush. You are not reading for entertainment, but for alignment. The words of the wise will become the companions of your own inner voice. Rule 3, reflect each evening. Before sleep, sit alone in silence. Ask yourself 3 questions. What did I do well today? Where did I drift? What will I command tomorrow? Write the answers plainly. This act will sharpen your conscience into an ally instead of an accuser. Each reflection is a mirror that prevents self-deception from returning. Rule 4, the master mind. Once each week, meet with at least one serious individual who shares your hunger for improvement. Speak openly of progress and of failure. Do not waste the time on complaint or gossip. The purpose is accountability. Two disciplined minds create a force greater than either alone. Choose carefully. One wise ally is worth more than 10 admirers. Rule 5. Guard the hours. For 30 days, treat every hour as capital. Avoid the aimless, the negative, the trivial. Rise at a fixed time. Work at a fixed time. Rest at a fixed time. The clock will become your ally instead of your enemy. Order is power in visible form. Rule 6. Obey the law of repetition. Repeat these actions daily, even when you feel tired, bored, or uninspired. Consistency is the bridge between intention and identity. Each repeated act writes obedience deeper into your nature until it becomes automatic. When the 30 days end, you will no longer need to remember the rules. They will have become your instincts. Rule 7. Record the results. Keep a notebook. Each page represents a day of your new life. Record what you completed, what you resisted, what you learned. At the end of 30 days, read it from beginning to end. You will see, line by line, the proof that change is possible through obedience. You may doubt that such simple actions can transform a man, but I tell you this: every empire began with order. The difference between a wanderer and a builder is not intelligence, but repetition. These daily rules will harden the will, clarify thought, and restore respect for self. Do not attempt perfection, attempt consistency. If you fall behind, return immediately. No excuses, no delay. The 30 days are a test of seriousness, not of talent. When you complete this campaign, you will possess more than new habits. You will possess evidence. You will know that decision and discipline can reshape life itself. And once a man knows that, he cannot go back to drifting, because drifting will now feel beneath him. So begin tomorrow at dawn. Move the body. Feed the mind. Reflect each night. Assemble your master mind. Guard your hours. Repeat your laws. Write your results. Do this for 30 days, and you will not need to find purpose. Purpose will find you in motion. And that, my friend, is the beginning of power.